Well, welcome, brothers and sisters of the St. Barbara Parish community and Old Mission Santa Barbara. I really appreciate your tuning in to the video today, and I'm really excited and pleased and very grateful to have my brother Jeff McNabb here talking with us, because Jeff not only has been a wonderful, huge source of warmth and support for me over my own journey, but Jeff also really holds a key position in one of the major activities based here at the mission, and that is that Jeff is the director of Novices for the Interprovincial Novitiate, which has been based here now this is the 4th year. So, Jeff, maybe just an overview of what is novitiate for people who wonder, what is a novice and what is a Franciscan novitiate? Things like that.
Well, first, thanks for having me. I'm not new to Santa Barbara. I was here many years ago teaching next door at the seminary, so it's kind of like being home.
Oh, that's great.
So it's nice to be here. A novitiate is a time in every religious community that the beginner comes and takes time out of the regular world or the work or so forth to focus on himself and his life, his gifts, his areas of his life where he may need to expand or improve or deepen his own spiritual and prayer life. But more importantly is to understand what this life of the Franciscan is. And as a novice director, our role is to journey and accompany these men to help them. We frame it in the sense of looking at the 4 seasons of the year. They come in summer, and they come with great enthusiasm and an excitement. But as they get here, they realize that the work is going to be more probably intense than they thought. Their activities are kind of curtailed. Their ministries outside on a normal year would be 1 day a week, but the rest of the week is focused on classes, focused on spiritual direction, focused on manual work here in the house or in the mission property. But in the fall, it's like fall. The leaves fall, and all of the kind of sometimes the excitement or the expectations or the false self begins to fall.
Yeah.
And we help them say it's part of a life. They see parts of themselves that they never thought they would ever see, and that they're still okay. It's just that they're shedding some of those areas of their life. Then when the winter months come, as we all know, not so much maybe in Santa Barbara, but it's the time for the roots of the plants or the trees to grow. So it's a lot of interior work. And we always say this time of year, between now and February, March, before the daffodils bloom, there's a lot of interior work that goes on inside of a novice. And it can be very intense at times. So right now we are in January, so the novices now are in that period. And as we always say to everyone, please pray for the novices as we pray for you. So that's what the winter would be. And then as spring comes, they begin to see, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but also they see themselves differently, that they have touched something that's deep within them, that's, as we say, we can't form anybody. We can't tell anybody, you have to be this way. They have to come with that already inside of them. And our job is to bring it out. So I think in the springtime, it's when they begin to see what's already been there, what they've identified, or what attracted them here, is that we help them go, and bring it out. And it comes out in a different way than they may have thought it would be.
Yeah.
And then they prepare for their first vows. And then in July, they move on to their next assignments. Usually it's studies, not always. Some of them will be going into intensified ministries somewhere. But all that is determined on the individual and on the province and other factors. So the year is just kind of framed like we all experience. And the greatest gift of the novitiate for us, or for me as a director, is to see them grow and to develop and to move on and to see them continue. And I think in our own novitiate experience of our own novices, we don't really appreciate the novitiate sometimes until later. And we look back and we go, okay. So that's kind of the framework of what we do here.
I tell you, Jeff, I really appreciate hearing that kind of summarized the way you did, because it gets me excited about, in some ways those dynamics are with us always, and I especially like that this time of year, strengthening those roots. What a great image. What a great image.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about why the novitiate, the Franciscan National Novitiate, is here in Santa Barbara. And there's some reasons for that I think maybe people already know or would be interested in hearing. But could you talk a little bit about that, why this particular place?
Well, as you probably know, that all the provinces in the United States are coming together as one province. So several years ago, the novitiate, the individual novitiates in the provinces ceased and became one. And that was located in Burlington, Wisconsin. And I went out there as to be a part of the team. And while we were there, our Minister General, Michael Perry, said to me, I would like you to think about moving to California, because the Capuchin and conventual Franciscans novitiates are there in the area. And our goal on the international level is to be cooperative with each other. And this would be a great opportunity in the United States for our novices to come together and work towards some kind of a unification of a common novitiate way down the line, but to begin to collaborate with each other. So we made the trek out here, Father Mike and I, to look at the possibilities, and Santa Barbara Mission, and along with the provincial, David, invited us to come here. The old retreat center was empty, and they were looking for an occupant, and so we moved in.
Yeah, yes, you did.
And we moved an entire 20-plus bedroom house, novitiate, all the way out here, with the help of Brother Kevin, who's behind the camera.
No, that's great. What an effort! And again, I've seen it myself. I mean, the interactions with our, what would you say, our cousin Franciscans in the Capuchins and the conventuals have taken place in different ways outside of, obviously, the pandemic year. It's been easier to do, but you've seen some of that sharing and that interaction.
That's right, and we all share a common rule. But the expression of it is, because historically it's expressed differently. But the exciting thing about it is we come together and see our commonality more so than our differences. And it's for the future, you can see that eventually we'll have to become one just because of practicalities. But the gifts that we have are similar. And so it's been a great joy for me, because we never had that in my own formation. To learn that, but to get to know them and to see that they're not as strange as someone told us years ago. But they're wonderful. They're wonderful men who have that same deep desire for the gospel life, and they just live it out a little differently. So it's a great learning tool for all of us.
Well, we're talking about learning tools. That's great. I love that phrase. What it just, kind of what for you personally has been a learning in being involved with a novitiate for you personally, or what are some of the challenges that challenge you to learn every day in your position as director of novices? This is a very, I would say it's a unique ministry. Could you say something about that, Jeff?
Well, it's like a teacher would say. You learn more by having to teach something than you do as sometimes sitting as a student.
Yeah.
And for myself, I think I've learned more about the Franciscan life, the Franciscan tradition, the church, psychological issues, all of those things since I've been a director. And it's a challenge, a good challenge that each year is every group that comes in is a unique and different group. So to create a program, every year has to be a unique program for that group that comes. So that means you have to be creative. You have to be able to listen to what the needs are. And so if you're a creative person and like to do creative kinds of things, it's a great job. If you're a person who likes, we're going to do it this way because I wrote out the lesson plans 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It won't work. You have to move with the personality of the group. And you have to learn to listen. But you also have to learn how to be honest and tell a novice that either this isn't the life, or if you want this life, you need to mature, or you need whatever it may be. So there are days that are difficult in having to journey with someone who doesn't quite get it. And it's like a parent, I would suppose, having to tell their child something that's not easy. But at the same time, the flip side of that is to watch the growth that someone has taken that challenge that you've given them, taken it, run with it, and become a whole different person or discover themselves. So,
well, and you're also living with the people you're ministering with, right? I mean,
that's right. As I told you before, you have to live the talk.
Yeah, right. Because you're right there every day, looking across that table.
And they see you, and they hear you, and they'll say, well, you said this, and why don't you? And I have to be humble enough to say, you're right.
Yeah.
Twice a year we have a ritual that we call it the ritual of forgiveness and blessing, where we come together and kneel in front of each other and ask for blessings for areas in our life that may need strengthening, or and then asking for forgiveness for those little things, the daily kinds of things that we do to each other. It's a very humbling experience. And it's not the Hollywood kind of chapter of faults that you see but you can see the growth in it and the individual novices, and you can see the care and the love that they have developed for each other, and the reconciliation that happens after those rituals. It just shows the growth. And so living that every day with them is because they watch they watch what we do, just as we watch them. And when I'm having a hard day or a struggle or something, to have a novice reach out and say, I noticed that you're struggling today. Are you okay? Or your health, or whatever it might be. So it's a grace job. It's a challenging job, but it's a grace job.
Well, and it's a grace. It's a huge grace to have the novices here. I mean, speaking as a member of the community, involved obviously in the parish and other activities, what a blessing! What a blessing to have you here, Jeff. And on behalf, on behalf, I can say this on behalf of the parish community, the wider mission community. Thank you for what you're doing. I mean, and personally, your heart comes through so much in what you're saying, and it's been part of the gift of just having this conversation. So thank you again. And we may need a part 2 and 3 to this, but anyway. But for now, is there anything else you wanted to say at the, as we conclude, or anything you wanted to say that?
Well, sometimes we get questions from the parishioners about why before the pandemic, why are the novices more involved in the parish? And we don't restrict them to any kind of ministry or place to go to worship. I think the real reason is that they are here every day. Sunday is kind of and Saturday are free days for them, basically. And so when they go to worship, particularly those who are Hispanic and speak Spanish, they want to connect with a Spanish community. So they'll go to the parishes that speak Spanish. But it's not that we don't like you.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that they feel part of their ministry is to share the Franciscan life outside in the parishes by sitting in the pews or being connected in some way with the other parishes. And we were very thrilled to be able to be asked the musicians this year to play for Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
that was a great gift for us, but it was also a gift that we wanted to give to the parish. And so, thank you for that opportunity.
Oh, nice. It was a great gift to the parish. So, well, thank you so much again, Jeff, and thanks all of you who are watching, and thank you, Kevin, for your work behind the camera there. May God give you peace.